So recently, a lot of press has been generated about Hollywood having its worst Memorial Day weekend in over, I think it was 30 years. The entire weekend generated something like $120 million, which is what you usually expect for a single movie to make. So Hollywood is actually gearing up to have one of its worst summers ever. I haven't seen anyone plug in an inflation adjustment to see if it gets worse, but the fact that it's this bad without one is staggering, especially considering how bad inflation is right now. So, naturally, on the internet, a lot of theories have been going around about why this may be. What could possibly be causing this unprecedented collapse? Well, I want to share my theories on it because I have at least one that I have not seen anywhere else. And I think it's a bigger deal than people realize. So let's get some of the common ones out of the way. The movies are just not as good as they used to be. I mean, in the 90s and the early 2000s, we were absolutely spoiled. When the internet first started to be able to show us things like movies, we all got pretty excited about the democratization of entertainment that was coming our way. We were really hoping for an increased quantity of quality to be able to see a lot of the good stuff that the studios didn't want to take risks on. But unfortunately, what we've seemed to have gotten is a much larger quantity and a very sharp dip in quality. If you haven't seen my Film Year series, yeah, frankly, I don't blame you. But one thing that I did learn and pointed out while doing that is that there was a massive drop in number of must-see movies starting in 2003. And it has not gone back up at all. At the end of 2019, my wife and I saw Rise of Skywalker, and then last year we saw the Super Mario Brothers with our kids, and those are the only movies that I have seen in theaters since Endgame. And it's not because of avoidance of crowds. I do not now, nor have I ever given one but about any germ. Ever given one but about any germ. There just hasn't been anything that I wanted to see bad enough to plan to go to the theater with anyone. I've actually seen more Cirque du Soleil shows in that time span than I have movies. That's weird. Sure, everyone went nuts about Dune, but I didn't really like the book. Sorry. So I didn't have a strong drive to see that one. I was not the target market for Barbie, so I did not want to see that one. And I did want to see Oppenheimer, I just never got around to seeing it. Another point that people often make is, back in the 90s, I'm really starting to sound like an old fogey. Back when I was young and the movies were good. I have a chart though, so that makes it okay? Anyway, back not even that long ago, you were able to trust movie trailers. If a trailer looked good, the movie would probably be just as good. But now, we have been sucker punched so many times that we don't trust them anymore. I mean, there have been movies where the trailers lie about who the lead character is. Sometimes you don't even know what the movie is about. Sometimes you think you know what the movie is about, and then it isn't. I have seen some movies that played it up as a drama, and then it turned out to be a comedy, and right now we are in a weird spate where Hollywood keeps making musicals and not telling people that they're musicals. That's just weird. Back in like 2010, all of us went to see Inception and we didn't even know what it was about from the trailers. We just thought that it looked cool. I went to see that one by myself. And that's not even getting into the lack of fun that we've had for the past several years. We go because we want to see a fun action movie, but then we end up getting preached at or yelled at or told that half of the population are horrible people because of their political beliefs. So we just get tired of it. So we don't trust even good-looking trailers, and we don't want to risk it because of the third reason, which is movie tickets are really expensive right now. They especially cost way too much to risk on a movie that we might not even like. Matinees cost more than a Friday night movie did when I was a kid. We really don't need to elaborate on that one too much. We all know that it's absolutely true. The fourth theory is that streaming is just taking over. Why on earth would I pay $30 to go see something that will probably be on some streaming service that I'm already paying for in the next 6 or 7 months? Why would we take the risk of taking the time to get ready, leave the house, and spend all that money when we could just stay at home, sit on our sofa, and watch a movie that we already know is good? And the fifth thing is just inflation sucks. No one has extra money for the movies when eggs are giving us sticker shock. Now we're into the things that I have not really heard anybody else say. And one of them is, I don't think people are watching movies as much as they used to. This one is definitely just something in my own personal observances, but people blame YouTube for being free entertainment, but I think that it's actually affecting our attention spans a little bit. Even when I am at home, I rarely watch movies these days, instead watch TV series. I've actually started putting effort into watching movies instead of TV shows whenever I can. Somehow movies just feel like a commitment, even if I do instead end up watching 3 or 4 hours of a TV series instead of the 2.5 hour movie that I thought about watching before that. My kids almost never want to watch movies at all. They just want to watch TV series, and not like movies, like Disney movies, the classic ones. They just don't want to watch them. We only watch them inside the car when we're having a long drive, and then they're limited to the ones I have on DVD, which is more than you'd expect. I've watched more movies recently for this channel than I had in a while, and I think you've probably noticed that I prefer the older stuff because I'm set in my ways. Okay, so that one's really subjective. I don't know if it's true. Let me know in the comments. Do you think that I might be onto something there? But this last one I actually do think is a big deal, and I have not heard anyone mention it. I think it's a much bigger deal than Hollywood is aware, and I think that they and the movie internet culture are incapable of seeing it because they're too in the system. And I don't even mean that in like a bad, corrupt way. I just believe that being awash in movie culture and it being part of your livelihood makes this really hard to notice. Movie marketing as a whole is kind of adrift right now, and has been for a while. And I'm not even talking about the misrepresentation stuff that I mentioned earlier. I'm talking about the simple goal of name recognition. Back in the 90s, it's way more relevant this time. When I was a kid, you would go to see a movie in the movie theater, or you would buy a new video, or you would rent one, and then you would see trailers before them. And those movies could be coming out anytime between 2 weeks from now and a whole year from now, but it put it on your radar. And you might think, well, a year, that's pretty far out. You probably forget about it by then. Well, we were also all watching TV with commercials that we couldn't skip. And so, building up to the release of a movie, usually about a month in advance, we would start seeing commercials over and over and over and over again for a movie. For some of the big ones, they would actually release a new commercial every day with a countdown. And so you were very aware of what movies were coming out when. And sometimes it would get relentless as we were getting close to opening day of just seeing commercials over and over and over again. So you knew what every movie coming out on Friday was. But now, I don't know. I want to see If, and I want to see Fall Guy, and I'm interested in Furiosa. But Furiosa, I found out that it had been released the day after it was released when YouTube started talking about how it was bombing. I found out that Fall Guy was coming out the day before it was released. If was out for 10 days before I found out that it was in theaters. I knew that a Garfield movie was being made, but I didn't know it was being released this year until the day after it came out. So the way that I see trailers and hear about movies that are coming out now is I watch them on YouTube like the day that they're premiered, which is usually 4 to 11 months before the movie's release. And, you know, I'm a fairly normal person, so it's not like I add the dates to my calendar, so I just kind of forget. And not only that, I subscribe to those channels. I hunted down the ability to see these trailers. So I don't know how the average person finds out what movies are coming. I mean, we've kind of programmed ourselves to ignore banner ads completely. We skip YouTube ads as fast as possible, and some of us pay for the privilege to not see them at all. And we TiVo sports and we skip the commercials. How is anyone supposed to see an advertisement for a movie right now? Billboards? The only places that I see ads regularly right now are Hulu and MLB TV, and they are exclusively car, dating app, insurance, and drug commercials. I have no idea by what logic those sites are not showing movie advertisements. And this isn't just for theatrical movies. Did you know that in May, Netflix had 12 original movies premiere? I looked it up for this video, and when I saw the list, I had only heard of 2 of them, and one of them was because YouTube was currently tearing it to pieces. Amazon makes movies, but the only way that I find out about them is if I watch something on Prime, and for some reason they don't decide to show me an advertisement for their NFL package. It's June, guys. Calm down. I think this is actually the biggest problem film as an art form is having in the age of the internet. People haven't cracked how to consistently make money off of their films using the internet because no one's figured out how to consistently let you know that the movie exists at all. There are hundreds of independent films made every year, and some of them are even good, but they have a really hard time finding an audience. Or getting the audience to find them. And you can't do what film snobs did in days gone by and complain about how Hollywood is just stealing all the oxygen in the room because, frankly, they're gasping for air too. There have been some things that I've found in the past few years that I legitimately love, but I found them by accident. They weren't advertised to me. I started watching Stranger Things because I saw a tweet from Stephen King, and I don't know how or where I saw it because I'm not on Twitter. The tweet was, the question isn't whether or not Stranger Things is good enough to break the internet, just whether or not it will. I was on paternity leave at the time, so I thought, sure, let's check this out. Another strange discovery, my wife was really enjoying the humor of Noel Fielding on Bake Off, and so she decided to use YouTube to look up some of his other funny stuff. She found a Best of Noel video, and it had recurring clips of him doing really strange things while wearing a yellow skeleton jumpsuit. So she did some digging, found what that was from, and we discovered Taskmaster, aka the funniest show in the world. You should absolutely watch it. It's free on YouTube. Her love of Noel also led us to the completely made-up adventures of Dick Turpin, which you should also try. Her love of Steve Martin led us to watching Only Murders in the Building, and dadgummit, all of these are TV shows. When was the last time that I saw a new movie that I really liked? Oh, Luck on Apple TV is really good. You should watch that one. I really should finally watch Oppenheimer. But think about it. When was the last time that you knew a movie's release date and you were anticipating it and looking forward to it and planning to see that movie in the theater that weekend? I'll bet it's been a while, and I think it's because the internet hasn't figured out how to market to us now. Most of the new things that I give a try are based off of people's recommendations, and no ad man can take credit for that. I mean, maybe indirectly, like he made an ad who this person saw, who this person saw, who then recommended it to me, but I don't know the chain, so I can't comment on it. Maybe I should start doing that if somebody recommends something to me, say, how did you find out about it? Anyway, those are my thoughts. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. This could be an interesting discussion for everybody to have. I'll see you next time if you subscribe. Bye.